Hey guys, it's Landon Blake from Redefined Horizons, and this is the third video in the set of videos we're doing that shows you how we lay out our digital magazines using Inkscape and Scribus. So if you remember in the last video, we went ahead and laid in our text, our body text for this issue of the magazine, the California Supremes. So that text is in here. The frames are already linked, so the text just flows from frame to frame. Got a basic 2-column layout here. And so the next step in this process is to go in and style the text, the body text. So to do that, we're going to right-click on any of the text frames and say Edit Text. And you remember in the last video, hopefully, that we selected all the text and just set it to regular body. And now what we want to do is we want to go in. First thing I do is come in and grab all my subheadings. So we're going to find our subheadings and we're going to highlight those. Okay. And Scribus has a little quirk. If you click on a subheading, for example, and change the style, but you don't have the cursor here, when you're done setting the style, it's going to jump you all the way up to the top of the text box. It'll do that. It didn't just do it. It didn't do it just now, but it will do it. And so to prevent that from happening, what you do is make sure you put your cursor right there at the subheading that you want to change, or the row of text that you want to change, so that it doesn't keep zooming you up to the top. So we're going to go in and just grab all these subheadings. All right, actually this is not a subheading. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, so some of this I need to delete, so the block quotes need to come out of here. Okay, and these subheadings that say sidebar, we're going to go ahead and delete the sidebar out of there. And we'll change those to subheading. All right. Okay, so when we think we're done with that, we'll just go ahead and save our changes. And you can see right away our subheadings are popping up now. Okay. So that's good. So I usually scroll through and just double check because I frequently miss a subheading. So just scrolling through, make sure we've got those. Okay, so it doesn't look like we missed any. Looks like we got them all. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is go in and fix these bulleted lists. So when you paste bulleted lists in from Microsoft Word, it adds all these extra spaces that we don't need. So we're going to fix that. We'll add some spacing here to these bulleted lists so it's a little easier to read. Then we've got some text here that's not a subheading, but that we want it to be bold so it stands out. We'll fix that. Okay, so that's the next thing we're going to do. So we're going to right-click on a text box, any of the linked text boxes for the main content here in these 2 columns. And then we're going to come in and we're going to find all our bulleted lists here, and we're going to get rid of these extra spaces. Okay. And then in addition to that, getting rid of the extra spaces there between the number and the text item, we're going to add a line break after each of the items because it just is easier to read with the kind of layout that we're using. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for this list here. So we'll get rid of those gaps, add a line break after each item in the list. Okay, so I did miss a subheading here. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, when I come in here in these court decisions and I have these questions, I like to make those bold. Okay, so we'll set those to bold text. Same thing here in this section. Okay, then we've got another numbered list here that we're gonna fix the gaps and add the line breaks. And another question here that needs to be bold. Alright. And get rid of the sidebar here. Don't need that. These questions should be, nope, those aren't bold. These questions aren't bold because they don't have an answer out after them, so they don't need to stand out, but these here do. So we'll make those bold. Okay, and then under the lesson subheading, I break these lessons out by profession. So we want those lines that identify the profession to stand out, so we'll make those bold text as well. Okay, and then we got just a couple more numbered lists to fix, and then we should be about done with this step. Okay, so I think we're about done. Now, I probably missed a couple, but we should be close. So we'll go ahead and save that. Now, you can see when I do that, because I got some problems in my template still, that bold text is the wrong font. It went back to Arial. So let's go fix that. So we got to make sure that this, let's see, bold body text up here in the paragraph styles, we're going to edit and see that's set to... It's set to Arial. That needs to be Dosis. And then we want it to be extra bold. Alright, so now it looks better. Okay. And, oh, you can see right here I missed a numbered list. That's under the permit conditions down here at the bottom. Yep, missed a line break here on that between those two items in the numbered list. Okay, all right. We got some blank pages here, but I don't delete those till the very end. Okay, so after you've added your bold text and fixed your bolded list or numbered list, the next thing I do is I go in and I start looking at how my text is landing at the bottom of each column. Okay, so for example, right here, just the way this article lays out, I've got a line break here at the top of a column. We don't want that, so we're going to go in and find that right here at timeline. We're going to delete that. Okay, so you can see how it pulled timeline up to the top of the page. And you want to make these changes at the very end. This is the last thing I do because as you change styles and do other edits, you'll mess up this flow and then you'll have to redo it. So you want to fix where the text is breaking at the top and bottom of your columns. You want to do that last. Now, in this particular case here, you can see I've got this blank line at the end, but there's no way to really pull this up, pull this next text up. So I don't love that. There's really not a good way to fix it, so I'm going to leave it. You can see here this column looks fine. This column looks good. So you see right here, party claims, that needs to move up. So I can get rid of this blank line here at the top of the column. I should also make that bold. So we're going to go in, that's under the key facts section. Okay, so we're going to delete that line so it pulls up one, pulls up a line, and we're going to make it bold. Okay, perfect. And then I see I missed a subheading here. This should be a subheading, narrow legal questions. Okay. All right, but the text break's good there. Okay, again, we've got a blank line at the top here. And that's under the narrow legal questions. Number 2 we need to remove that line break. Pulls it up to the top of the page. You also want to make sure you do this from the top of the document to the bottom, because if you start at the bottom, your breaks at the bottom and top of the column are going to change as you move up the document. So always start at the top and move down your document. Go with the flow of the text. Okay, so this is another problem that happens occasionally. We got a subheading here that's broken between the bottom of the left column and the top of the right. We don't want that, so we're going to bump that subheading down a line so that it appears all on the top of the next column. That leaves us a little gap here, but that's all right. Okay, these look okay to me. So I'm not seeing the need for any changes here. I do see I missed a line break here. Okay, this is under question 4 and the court's decision. So we'll see if we can find that. So question 4, there should be a line break here, and there's not. So we're just going in trying to clean up those errors as we check these breaks in the text. Okay, those breaks look good. Don't see any problems with any of the breaks on these pages. All right, so that looks pretty good. So we're done with that step. So we'll save that, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video now because we're a little over 10 minutes, almost 12 minutes. And in the next video, I'll show you the last step, which is we'll go in, we'll do the block quotes, and we'll produce our PDF.